Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Heather Lewis. I've got a super exciting flip for you guys. I tried out a lot of new products and a lot of new techniques. I even had my first go at trying to build my first custom base thanks to Andrea at DIY Wife. If you want to learn more about that base, make sure you go check her out and I will have the video for that in my description box down below. But decided to try a base out. We tried some gel stain for the first time and we had another crack at Beyond Paint, but I actually decided to try out a different color other than neutrals. I know I do a lot of neutrals on this channel, so I wanted to try a color that was out of my comfort zone, and I think it turned out beautiful and it's opened my eyes to different colors and not going away from the neutrals, but also having a more open mind for the other colors that are out there. So with that, we're gonna get straight into the video. I found this $30 dresser at Goodwill. This was a pretty good find for me because usually at my locations, most of the furniture is pretty picked over. So I was able to pick this one up, but it was pretty outdated and there were a lot of scratches on it. Typically, I would start by taking off the hardware, but I had a different idea for this piece. I wanted to build a custom base to make it higher, so I decided to have my boyfriend help me take these decorative pieces off. We used a crowbar and a hammer and it came off pretty easy. After those pieces were off, he started measuring where he needed to make a cut so that the bottom was level. And finally, once everything was measured, he started to make the cut with our saw. He had to try a few different positions just because this was the first time we were doing something like this, but in the end, they did end up coming off. Once everything was ready for the base, I brought it back in and started taking out the hardware. I realized that a lot of these drawer slides were falling out, so that is something I'll have to fix. People take out their hardware in different ways, but I like to just stick with this screwdriver. I feel like I have the most control, and if I can, I twist the knobs with it and it comes right off. So I'm just removing the drawers and getting all of them done. I really like this hardware, and at this point I thought I would be keeping them, but that's not what I ended up doing. It was at this moment when I realized what was wrong with the drawers, and really the drawer slides just needed to be glued back onto the drawers, so I was happy to find that it was such an easy fix. Again, I really did like this hardware and I thought I would be keeping it, but at the end of the day it didn't match what I was going for with this dresser, so I'll definitely be keeping it for another project. After all the hardware was off and the drawers were out, I decided to grab a bag and put it all in there so that I could keep it all together. Finally, it came time to cleaning, and cleaning is such a necessary step. You absolutely have to do it before you start putting paint. And I absolutely hate when Goodwill puts stickers on the dresser because the sticky residue stays on and I have to put extra work in to try to get it off. If you've stuck around for a while, you know my go-to cleaner is just Dawn dish soap. I know a lot of people have it in their homes already, and it is definitely one of the more cheaper options, yet it still does the job to get the grime and the grease off of the piece. I make sure to go inside the drawers, on the drawers, and everything in between to make sure that it is all cleaned off, and then I do go back in and just rinse my piece off with a clean microfiber towel and water. After cleaning off the pieces, I did notice that a lot of the drawers were pretty scraped up and had possible water damage, so I did decide to sand that down with 120 grit sandpaper. Then I started working on getting that sticky residue off from that sticker from Goodwill. I just used a putty knife and a wet microfiber towel to try to loosen it up, and eventually it was all gone. While I had a wet rag in my hand, I went back to the drawers and just gave those a good wipe down again. I didn't want any of the sawdust left on my piece after sanding it down, so I made sure to do that. After all the prep work was done, it was time to start painting. We are using Beyond Paint in the color Sage for this piece. I was really excited to do a color like this because usually I stick to neutrals, so I got a little bit out of my comfort zone today and decided to go with this. I really love Beyond Paint because there's no priming, stripping, or sealing necessary. I did end up sanding the drawers just because I didn't like the texture of them, but other than that, I really didn't have to do any of that. Beyond Paint recommends rolling their paint on and using a chippy brush in a tapping motion when you can't reach a spot with a roller, so that's exactly what I did. Just like last time, I noticed how thick this stuff was, and really it doesn't bother me. Because of the thickness, a little bit of paint goes a long way, which means I can use this on multiple projects. Once everything's all ready to go, I start applying my first coat, and I do really love this color. It's just freaking me out a little bit because it's not a neutral one. Regardless, everybody has different tastes and styles, so it's important to step out of your comfort zone sometimes and just try something out. You may end up liking it, and it could become your new favorite. Keep in mind when you are rolling paint on, you are going to have a little bit of that rolling texture versus when you paint and you're trying to get a smooth finish. It's not quite like that, but it also doesn't look bad or unfinished either. I was able to roll the entire top because it was such a flat surface, but I did have to pull out my chippy brush and start using it on the areas that were too small for my roller. You can see that I was using that tapping motion. It did create some texture, but that's okay because we can sand some of that off after the first coat dries. After that first coat had dried, 2 hours later, I went in with 120 grit sandpaper and just did a little bit of hand sanding. I wasn't trying to get the paint off, just trying to smooth it out as much as I could. After sanding it down a little bit, I went back in with my microfiber towel and just made sure all that dust was off again because you don't want that with the wet paint. I decided while the weather was nice, I would get outside and start staining our custom base. I got this idea off of DIY Wife with Andrea, and I'm going to leave it up to her, and I'll link her video in the description box down below if you want to see a step-by-step tutorial. But for the stain that we used the chestnut gel stain, and I was a little taken back by how clumpy it was at first, but I mixed it up and it turned out really well. Typically, I'll glove up for applying stain, but of course I didn't have any gloves when I needed it, so I just put my hand in a bag and I made it work with that, and it turned out just fine. The stain wasn't applying as dark as I had hoped that it would, and I think that it was just because of the wood that we had used. So next time I'll have to make sure to get a different type of wood to get better results with the stain. I'm not going to show the entire stain base because I want to leave that for the reveal, so I went back inside and started with my second coat. I really liked the coverage that I was getting with this second coat, and I was happy to know that I probably wouldn't be needing a third. After that second coat was dry, I got my boyfriend to help me put on the base, and it turned out really pretty. Now that the final stages were wrapping up, I am getting ready to show you the final reveal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking around to the end if you're still here. And I absolutely love the black modern hardware with the green and the wooden base. I think it all ties in together super well. This was my very first go at not only a color outside of the neutrals, but also having a go at a custom base. Of course, I had my boyfriend help me because it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I hope to be able to do more of these because these custom bases definitely help upscale your pieces. But before I let you guys go, I do want to talk about numbers for this piece because it was a little bit more expensive than what I usually allow for. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I did get this piece at Goodwill for $30. And $30 is pretty good at Goodwill, especially because typically when I go there, there's not a lot to choose from. So I did get lucky on this flip. Otherwise, I usually look on Facebook Marketplace for my pieces, but I am trying to get into more of the Goodwill and Savers and stuff. I just haven't been having a whole lot of luck there. So the piece was $30, and then a lot of the materials I already had. I did have to get the paint from Beyond, and that was $50. So the dresser and the paint was $80. And then I did have to, I think I spent about $15 on the wood, and I spent a whopping $55 on the hardware. So when it came to making the base, I did have to buy that pocket hole jig as well as the clamps because I found it much easier to use clamps with it. So I put a lot of money into this piece, but then again, I barely used any of the Beyond paint, and I'm gonna have that pocket hole jig for the rest of my life now, so that was a very good investment. So I didn't do the math for this, but all in, I would say I'm about $120 to $150. But a lot of that stuff I am still gonna be able to use from this point going on, so I'm okay with that. And I just finished the piece. I haven't even gotten it up on Facebook Marketplace yet, but my goal is to price it at $550 to $600. I think with the custom base, it definitely upscales this piece and makes it look more elegant and luxurious, as well as fit better into a modern home. So before I let you guys go, I do want to let you know a few things going on with this channel. If you haven't yet heard, I did set up a buy me a coffee. Don't feel obligated to do so, but if you do feel like supporting me, this is a good way that you can by buying me a coffee. And if that is something that you're interested in, I will have that linked in my description box down below. And also, I have been having a little bit of trouble with my Amazon affiliate links, and that just might be because I am a smaller channel and they feel I need more subscribers in order to be able to be a part of that. So I have had that off of my video for a little bit, but I think I'm at the point where I'm gonna try to put it back on for you guys. So if you do see materials that I used in this video that you would like to purchase for yourself, I will try to get those links in the description box down below for you to be able to buy. I can't promise anything because it's up to Amazon to allow it on my videos and allow the links to go through, but hopefully it'll be good to go. And with that, I'm gonna end this video. So please make sure you give this video a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, and that is going to be our goal by the end of the year. So if you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and click the button down below. It's free, why not? So yeah, if you like this content, make sure you do that. Otherwise, that is going to end today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.